Yo, what's up, all you burner stones and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Fantastic.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal, but today we got some fantastic news going on for you all today in the latest cannabis research, science, and health, political news, international news, and then we're going to end it with some cannabis culture given to you by Mrs. Weedman. And here we go. Now let's get normal with some gas face grown by Dynasty Farms, given to me by a new homie I just met last week. His name is Mac. And he is the owner, operator, grower for this cultivation out of California, Oklahoma, and coming soon to New Jersey. And Mrs. Weedman got like 4 nice doinks. Show the people on the camera there, if you're watching YouTube, this fatty doink that they roll. They don't roll no skinny shit. They roll fatty 1 grammers. And I tell you what, this Gas Face was great. So Gas Face is an indica dominant hybrid strain created through crossing the potent face mints and times biscotti times sherb strains. This delicious bud offers a heavy, high-hitting high with bright effects that will activate the mind and soothing effects that will knock the body flat out. The taste of Gas Face is uniquely savory, sweet, blending together fresh fruits, sour citrus, sharp mint, and nutty herbal cheese with each and every toke. The aroma follows the same amazing profile with added layers of spicy diesel and peppery skunk too. The Gas Face high will hit you immediately, rushing into your mind with a surprisingly bright and energizing mental effect. You'll feel focused and motivated with a boost in sociability that gets you feeling outgoing and ready to chat with anyone around you.
Sure.
The light physical relaxation comes next, eventually growing and expanding its reach, transforming into a heavy physical high that can lock you down to the couch. Combined with insanely high THC percentages, I think this one was around 28%, this effects make Gas Face a great option for treating a variety of conditions, including chronic pain, chronic stress and anxiety, chronic fatigue, ADD, or ADHD, and depression. That's a lot of treatment. This bud has a dense conical blue-green nugs, which is 100% true because I saw the nugs, with dark blue leaves, thick orange hairs, and chunky blue-tinted crystal white trichomes. I will tell you this. I've smoked a lot of weed in my time. Haven't I, Mrs. Weedman? I've smoked a lot of weed.
Yes, you have.
And, commercial cultivation, craft grows, don't always do it for me. I love the home grow. I love the traditional market growers. I will tell you this, everybody. This changed Mr. Weedman's perspective. This bud is very good. I will tell you how I felt on this high. Exactly what I described. Mrs. Weedman and I smoked this the first night. I was in a talkative mood, and then the next thing I was snuggling next to Mrs. Weedman and like spooning Mrs. Weedman. This made me feel very, very euphoric and very, very nice, couch locked and very comfy and cozy. It was so good. And no, they're not paying me to talk about this, bud. It is great. If you're in Oklahoma, California, or in New Jersey coming soon, check out Dynasty, because I will tell you, Mac, thank you for this. It was very, very good.
Tasty.
Mm-hmm. While I'm smoking this, Miss Weedman's going to tell you a little bit about 8decades.com.
Yeah. Head on over to 8decades.com. That is EIGHT, decades.com, our baby. There you will find our cannabis lifestyle brand. We've got beautiful rolling trays, ashtrays. We have storage jars, grinders, steam rollers, totes, and hemp clothing, beautiful hemp clothing from Young Maven that is co-branded with the 8 Decades logo. You're also going to find information about us and what we do here at the Weedman 420 Chronicles podcast. And you're going to find Mr. Weedman's swag. So get yourself some good goods and support us, because by supporting us, you're supporting the show. And you're not really supporting us. You're supporting the show, which is supporting us. Oh my God, I'm stoned already.
Already? Well, then we can pay our producer,
and we can
Shoddy.
pay Shorty, and that's
what it's all
the
about.
most important.
That's the most important thing. Paying Shoddy, the producer.
Yeah. So visit our site, 8decades.com. Sign up for our newsletter. It'll get you free shipping on your first order, and check out what we've got on there.
There you go. Thank you, everybody, for the support. We love you out there. Something fun. we found a show to watch.
We
and we already
did.
finished it in less than 10 days. We watched it from last Wednesday until Sunday, and we finished the show already.
Mhm.
It's on Netflix. Will Ferrell, you banged it, baby. I
Yeah, it
tell
was
you
great.
what, I haven't had a laugh show like this in a hot minute. And boy, oh boy, The Hawk on Netflix.
It's great.
If you haven't seen it, if you want good laughs, tell you what, he brought back the fire. I loved every second of it. We were laughing hysterical. Oh my gosh. So if you haven't seen The Hawk, it's about a washed up golfer, but had a lot of talent, but he got in his own head.
Mhm.
You know, he was a famous golfer, you know, and just watch it. It is so good. There's some great actors that were in SNL, some newer comedians on there. Just so
It's funny.
It is fucking
funny.
funny. So watch
It's
The
like
Hawk.
classic Will Ferrell
Oh,
personality,
yeah.
humor,
Oh,
just goofiness. It's just a great.
So
and
good.
his co-star, I just had to look her up because I don't know what she goes by. Fortune Feimster, and I might be
that's his caddy,
botching-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, and also a comedian
Yeah.
and a complete riot.
Oh gosh,
like
she
it
was
was
great.
such a great dynamic
Yeah.
between the two of them.
Oh,
It's
so
funny.
good. They paired
Yes.
well together. We had some
Molly
laughs.
Shannon.
Oh.
And, yeah.
Was it Molly Shannon? She was known for her under her armpits and
Yeah.
smelling her fingers. Was that her on
I'm
SNL?
50. 50. Ever smell one of these? Yes.
So if you haven't watched it yet, or you want a new show to watch, and you've been debating on whether you think it's all about golf, it is about
Pretty
golf,
great.
but it's pretty fucking.
You don't
funny.
need to be a golf
No,
fan
no,
to
no,
watch
no,
it.
no,
It's
no.
very funny.
It is so classic. So good.
Oh my God.
I hope they come out with a season 2. I really do.
Yeah.
I
hope
do
so.
because it was that good. And
I think they will.
and it just was so light comedy, like good,
Just easy watch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. So check out The Hawk on Netflix, everybody. Ms. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman.
I don't seem to be getting high like I used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate.
bummer.
Yeah, it's really starting to make me upset because
You just got to smoke more.
I found a new technique.
Oh, where are you going? Where are you
You're gonna
going?
help me out with this new
Okay.
technique.
Sure.
I need you to get a dentist drill for me.
Okay.
All right, a pedaled
Okay.
one.
Oh,
right,
sure. Yeah.
and I need you to drill a hole in my skull
Oh, yeah.
because I
Give
read.
you a little lobotomy?
I need just a hole,
Just
not
a
too
hole.
deep,
Air hole?
just right through the skull, right through the front right here,
Just
just a
that's all.
little hole. Because I read,
I think there could be some nerves in there that if you hit one, you're kind of fucked.
because I read
Maybe.
this fucking doctor, or not really even a doctor, he's a Dutch librarian named Bart Hughes. Librarian, yeah, Dutch Hughes. He decided that getting high the traditional way wasn't permanent enough.
Okay.
So instead of rolling another joint, he comes up with a theory that the human brain isn't getting enough blood flow because we stand upright now when we walk. Back when we were cavemen, we hunched, right? And there was more blood
Okay.
flow going to the brain. So his solution was grab a dentist drill and drill a hole in his own skull. Yep, everybody, you heard that right. So Mrs. Weeman and I are going to film it on YouTube, and she's going to
Get
drill a
out of
hole.
here. Get the fuck out of here.
That's
not happening.
Right in the old fucking
No.
noggin. It's like
No.
be permanently
Yeah,
high.
my luck, you'd be like, "Duh, Susan, Susan," and you just say Susan all day long. Susan, Susan.
I already
And
do.
you'd be paralyzed.
But I already,
You'd be paralyzed. Like I'd hit that nerve.
You'd hit that nerve.
Yeah, and
But
you could only say, "Hey, Susan."
But here's the thing: I already say, "Hey, Susan."
No, but that's
and you
all
get
you
mad
would
about
say.
that.
That's all you would say, and you'd be paralyzed.
So we believe that.
But you'd feel high.
I would, because Hughes believed the hole would permanently increase blood flow to his brain, creating a consistent state of heightened awareness and euphoria. He even wrote papers
So
explaining
then you wouldn't
this.
need cannabis.
No,
like this
you'd
would
just
just
be
cause
permanently
you to get
high.
Well, yeah.
So
brain
he
damage.
wrote
Or do you
papers-
say drain bramage?
Oh, drain bramage for
Drain
sure.
bramage.
Oh, 100%. So he explored this and he came up with a theory and became one of the biggest advocates of something called trepantation. I think I pronounced that right. Trepantation, an accident practice where holes were drilled into the skull. Historically, trepanation was sometimes used. I'm gonna spell it. Trepanation. So if y'all can pronounce that, help a guy out.
Trepanation.
So was sometimes used as a medical procedure for serious head injuries or other conditions. But Hughes was promoting an entirely different reason. And his idea ideas have never been supported by credible scientific evidence because nobody actually wanted to test drilling a hole in their head. So, and here's where the weed man has to jump in, though, everybody. Okay? Here's where I jump in. We love cannabis, and Mrs. Weedman's going to do it on live TV for me, drill the hole in the head. So, I'm just kidding. We love cannabis. We love talking about expanding our minds, and we definitely appreciate some good old-fashioned counterculture history. But if your next thought after smoking is, honey, where's the power drill? You have officially gone way too far. And the funny part is that this guy thought he found the ultimate life hack. Meanwhile, most of us are perfectly happy with a comfortable chair, a favorite strain, some good snacks, and maybe a funny movie. That's a whole lot cheaper than neurosurgery in the garage, right, Mr. Weedman?
Mm-hmm.
So today's lesson is simple, everybody. Cannabis may make you think of some wild ideas, but maybe run those ideas past a friend, family member, before you get your power tools out. And we'll stick to, Mrs. Weedman and I will stick to rolling papers. Well, maybe Mrs. Weedman will, because I'm still interested in trying the hole in the noggin.
I'm reading about it. I don't know.
So we'll stick to the rolling papers and instead of power tools
It's got a big hole.
around here, that's a much better way to free the plant and keep your skull exactly intact. Right, Mrs. Weedman?
Well, yeah. Okay, so this goes back to like the Neolithic period, and 5 to 10% of all cranial remains were from that era. And these guys had like a golf ball size hole in their skull. What the fuck? And they're just showing like some dude like,
Yeah.
Like-
How'd it go?
I'm back to that, right? drilling in.
That didn't look like a drilling that you were just doing. Well, maybe to some
Yeah,
people.
like have you ever seen a manual drill?
Do it again.
No, I will not.
You practice a
done.
lot, haven't
It goes back to ancient China.
What, drilling holes in your
Yeah,
head?
medieval East Africa, pre-modern Europe. A lot of people were
Drilling holes?
drilling holes. They thought that it let out, if someone was acting in an abnormal manner, they would do this. And in some ancient societies, it was believed that this released evil spirits that were to blame for the wacky behavior.
Oh.
So kind of like lobotomy.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the poor Dutchman.
Yeah. Or individuals that were diagnosed with epilepsy, scurvy, frontal cyanitis, intracranial disorders.
I heard scurvy's coming back.
All right.
Speaking of coming
Let's get some scurvy going.
Oh, shit.
Imagine that.
Oh, crazy. People drilling hole in their heads to fucking stay high all the time. I mean, who comes
That's
up with this
wacky.
shit? Yeah. The
So,
60s. The lovely 60s.
The guy was whacked.
Maybe, but he
Before he did.
lived to be 74 years old with a fucking skull in his head. So he did something
With a
right.
skull in his head.
I mean, a hole in his skull. So he did something. He did something right. He lived to 7. He didn't die on the spot.
He died, or he did it. How old was he when he did it?
I didn't 1964. So
How old was he?
Like,
Did he live for 10
He died
years?
in 2004. Hughes died of heart disease in not even brain disease.
Whoa.
He died in 2004
How
at
do
the age
you
of
not
70.
get, does your skin heal over it? Or do you just have like a hole?
I don't know.
Because you just die. You end up
Okay,
with
so
infection.
let's find out.
I'll look it up.
Let's drill a hole in my
no.
skull so I stay permanently high.
Shut
You ready to get the show
Yes,
started
let's
before
do
it gets crazy in here? All right, let's do this. All right, everyone. It's time to put the lab coats. Well, maybe just imagine you wearing one over your favorite tie-dye t-shirt. This research dives into one of the biggest reasons people seek medical cannabis in the first place, neuropathic pain, the nerve pain, the kind that feels like the burning, tingling, electric shocks or stabbing sensations. Ms. Weedman.
I've had it.
I know. That's why I did this research for you. Unlike sore muscles or a twisted ankle, neuropathic pain comes from damage or malfunctioning nerves, making it incredibly difficult to treat with traditional medications. The authors reviewed that more than 2 decades of research to see where cannabinoids fit into this picture. Here's where things get a little really interesting. Our bodies already have an endocannabinoid system. Think of it as the body's own communication network that helps regulate pain, mood, sleep, inflammation, appetite, and many other functions. The review explains that cannabinoids work by interacting primarily with CB1 receptors found mostly in the brain and nervous systems, and CB2 receptors, which are more involved with the immune system and inflammation. Imagine the nervous system as a neighborhood where every smoke alarm is going off at once. In neuropathic pain, damaged nerves keep sending danger signals even when there's no actual fire. Ms. Weeman, that happened
Hmm.
before? Yeah.
Hmm.
Cannabinoids don't simply cover up the noise, they may help turn down the volume on those faulty
Hmm.
signals. Can you agree with that?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
The researchers found several ways cannabinoids appear to work. First, they can reduce the release of certain neurotransmitters that carry pain signals. Think of it like lowering the volume on a loudspeaker that consistently blasting pain messages to the brain. Second, cannabinoids appear to reduce neuron inflammation. When nerves are injured, immune cells can stay activated and keep pain cycles going. By calming some of the inflammation, cannabinoids may help reduce irritation surrounding damaged nerves. CBG, everybody. CBG. CBG. Third, a review highlights the effects on TRP channels. These are tiny molecular sensors that help detect heat, cold, pressure, and pain. Many people have heard of the TRPV1 without realizing it. That's the same receptor activated by caspians, the compound that makes hot pepper spicy.
Hmm.
Ooh. Cannabinoids can influence these channels, potentially helping regulate how pain is perceived. Now comes the $1 million question. Does this actually help patients? According to the review, the answer is sometimes. Clinical trials have shown that cannabinoid based medicines can provide meaningful improvements for some people with neuropathic pain. Participants often reported lower levels, better sleep, and less sensitivity to normal painful touch. But the results weren't consistent across every study. Some patients experienced significant relief, while others noticed only modest improvements. Hey, that's still better than nothing. Modest is, I
It's
know
not
it's
bad.
low, but it's better than having no help at all,
Hmm.
right? So why the difference? The authors point out to several factors. Not all cannabis products are the same. Different THC to CBD ratios, different delivery methods, different doses, and even differences in individuals' metabolisms all influence how well the treatment works. In other words, cannabis isn't a one size fit all medicine. We've said that and talked about that multiple times.
Hmm.
The review also discusses side effects. Higher THC products were more likely to cause dizziness, temporary cognitive impairment, or psychoactive effects. CBD generally showed a more favorable tolerability profile, although researchers emphasize the long term safety data are still limited and more studies are needed. One thing I really appreciate about this paper is that it stays balanced. The authors aren't saying cannabinoids are miracle cure. They're also not dismissing them. Instead, they're saying that biology is incredibly promising, but medicine still needs larger, better standardized clinical trials to determine which cannabinoid formulations work best for which patients. That's why I always say bring back all those cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. Now, we find them in hemp because they're growing
Right.
it so we can service the recreational cannabis industry with their different ratios for their edibles and stuff. But we need to bring back all those other wonderful cannabinoids in the plant itself for people who like to smoke it. Like we had a great strain grown by our friend Seattle Seed Chronic. We called it the chronic strain. And it was he had like 4% or 3% CBG in there, and you felt a major
Hmm.
difference in your
Yep.
body. I think I have like one nug left I'm smoking just when the day we both needed the most. So um, looking ahead, researchers may believe the future may involve precision cannabis medicine matching specific cannabinoid combinations, doses, and delivery methods to individual patients instead of relying on generalized recommendations. That can be more personalized therapies and better outcomes for people living with chronic nerve pain. So here's our takeaway. The review reinforces something we've talked about for years. Cannabis isn't just about THC and getting you high. It's a complex plant interacting with sophisticated biological systems that still need exploring. The science continues to show real potential for neuropathic pain, but it also reminds us that the best results will likely come from careful research, quality, controlled products, and personalized treatment, not simply grabbing the strongest flower on the shelf. As always, the research keeps growing, and thankfully, so does our understanding of this incredible, incredible plant. Yay, cannabis.
Yay.
So tell us, Mrs. Weedman, why teen marijuana use continues to decline as more states legalize it for adult use. And this is a federal study.
Yeah,
Tell
big
us why.
deal. One of the most common arguments that we hear that is against legalizing cannabis has always been that if adults can buy it legally, more teenagers will start using it. But a new federal study continues to tell a different story. The findings come from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, one of the federal government's largest surveys on substance use. Looking at data collected between 2021 and 2025, researchers found that marijuana use among teens aged 12 to 17 continues to decline. Fewer teens reported using cannabis in the past month. Fewer said that they hadn't used it in the last year, and fewer reported trying it for the first time. The survey also found that the rates of cannabis use disorder among adolescents has decreased. I think that's because education has become, we talk about it now, right? It's not this little hidden secret that you have to figure out for yourself. What's especially interesting is that these trends happened while more states continued legalizing cannabis for adult use. The study doesn't claim legalization caused teen use to decline, but it also doesn't support the longstanding prediction that legalization would lead to more teenagers using marijuana. Instead, the data shows that youth cannabis use has either remained stable or continued to fall as legalization has expanded. The report also highlighted several encouraging trends beyond cannabis. Teen alcohol use, teen tobacco use, and binge drinking all have continued to decrease. At the same time, they noted that anxiety is still a significant issue, with about 1 in 5 teens reporting moderate to severe anxiety symptoms. Researchers say there are likely several factors behind these trends. Legal dispensaries require age verification. Public education about cannabis has improved, and prevention programs continue to target underage use. While it's impossible to point to one specific reason for the decline, the data suggests that regulated adult use markets are not fueling an increase in teen cannabis use. Of course, health experts still stress that cannabis isn't intended for adolescents. The teenage brain is still developing, and regular cannabis use can affect learning, memory, attention, and mental health. That's why education and keeping cannabis out of the hands of minors remain important, regardless of legalization. The bottom line is that this federal report adds to the growing body of evidence showing that adult use cannabis legalization and declining teen marijuana use are happening at the same time. It doesn't prove cause and effect, but it does challenge one of the biggest assumptions that has surrounded legalization for years. Sometimes the data surprises everyone, and that's exactly why it's worth paying attention to the research before jumping to conclusion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a fly in the studio.
There is. I saw it zip by. I was trying not to.
Everybody out there in the world.
Driving you nuts?
Well, you know me when I see a fly. What do?
You kill it.
I hunt.
Yes.
And there's a fly in here, and I can't stop the show to hunt for this fucking. I see him. I know. He was on the neon.
I'll be right back.
No, you're not going to get him. You're going to destroy the neon.
No, I know.
Everybody, if you're listening right now, I despise flies in the house.
I despise flies.
Despise flies. It flew somewhere, and it drives me. I hunt them when I see them, and Mrs. Weedman has seen me catch flies in midair, like literally just out of the air, just grab them. And but it doesn't always work out. But 95% of the time when I kill a fly, he's right there in the neon, and I get him on a window. You're gonna break that neon. Oh, yeah, you are. Everybody who's watching, Mrs. Weedman's going to try to kill a fly. Oh, can you get him? Oh, see?
I missed it, but I didn't break the neon.
No, close, though.
Come on.
Fly chasing 101, everybody. The best way to kill a fly besides a fly swatter, which I don't have, I'm the fly swatter, catch him in midair or wait till he lands on a window and just grab a tissue and just, you get him. That's how you kill a fly.
But right? They know.
Oh, well, they have a bazillion eyes and they can see all over the place. So it's going to drive me nuts because I want to kill this fly. I will pay attention to the show. So here we go. 1 in 5 cancer survivors use CBD to treat symptoms like pain, sleep problems, and distress. The study shows. Let's talk about something that's becoming more common in medical cannabis world. More and more cancer survivors aren't just asking, can cannabis help? They're asking, can CBD help me feel better after everything I've been through? A new study highlighted that Marijuana Moment looked at over 1,200 cancer survivors and found that 18%, nearly 1 in 5, use CBD after their cancer diagnosis. Most weren't trying to treat cancer itself. Instead, they were looking for relief from the lingering symptoms that often stick around long after treatment ends. Think about what many cancer survivors deal with every day: pain from surgery, nerve damage, Trouble sleeping, anxiety, reoccurrences of all these, plus stress and fatigue are big. Something neurotherapy, that burning and tingling sensation caused by chemotherapy. Oof. Even when someone hears the words "you're cancer free," the journey often isn't over. Recovery can take months, even years, and many people continue searching for ways to improve their quality of life. According to the study, 90% of CBD users said they were taking it specifically for symptom relief. The most common reason were pain, followed by sleep problems, stress, anxiety, depression, and neuropathy. Now, here's the part that really caught my attention. Among the people who use CBD for symptoms, more than half reportedly some improvement regardless of symptoms they were targeting. Some of the strongest reports came from people trying to improve fatigue and energy levels, while many others experienced benefits with pain, sleep, and emotional distress. That sounds incredibly encouraging, but let's pump the brakes just for a second. This was a clinically trial where researchers gave one group CBD and the other another a placebo. It was a survey asking cancer survivors about their experiences. That means it tells us what people are using CBD for and how they feel it worked. But it doesn't prove CBD caused those improvements. The authors themselves say large controlled clinical trials are still needed to answer the question. Another interesting finding, almost half of the people who tried CBD eventually stopped using it. The most common reason wasn't side effects. It was simply that they didn't feel it helped enough. That tells us something we've talked about many times on the show. Cannabis isn't magic. CBD isn't magic. Everybody's body is different. Also, we've talked about when it comes to CBD, finding the right dose is a big deal. And also, if you're going to the fucking gas station and buying CBD, 99.9% of the time, it ain't going to work. Okay. If you're going to places where you don't have COAs and you don't know where it's coming from, you don't know how old it is, you don't know if it's fucking just bunk. So that could be another reason why it didn't work for some people, So your genetics, medications, metabolism, dosage, product quality, and even when you're taking CBD can influence whether it works for you or not. That's why we always say cannabis is personal. One product that helps one person sleep through the night might do absolutely nothing for somebody else. The researchers also noticed some trends. Younger cancer survivors and people with brain gastrointestinal cancers were somewhat more likely to report using CBD than other groups. They're not exactly sure why, but it's another area that deserves more study. One thing that I can really appreciate about this research is that it focuses on quality of life. Sometimes people hear medical cannabis and immediately think it's about curing disease. Most of the time, it's about something much more practical. Can I sleep tonight? Can I hurt a little less? Can I feel calm enough to enjoy dinner with my family? Can I get through the day without feeling completely like shit? Those are meaningful goals, and improving those everyday moments can make a huge difference for somebody recovering from cancer. The study shows that CBD has become an important tool for many cancer survivors trying to manage pain, sleep problems, anxiety, and neuropathy. Many users reported positive experiences, but not everyone benefited, which reinforces the need for more rigorous clinical research. The encouraging news is that scientists are finally studying the questions patients have been asking for years. And every new study helps paint a clearer picture of where CBD may fit into a supportive cancer care. That's why we always say, follow the science, listen to your body, keep learning. Every study brings us to the next step closer to understanding what is this amazing plant can do and can't do once again. So, Mrs. Weedman, once again, CBD, it works for some, might not work for everybody, but finding the proper dosage, finding the proper resource, making sure it's legit, not some fucking shelf shit that's been sitting there for you don't know how long. And we know a couple CBD farms around this area we live in now that grow some really good CBG products.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We've been mixing that lately with some of our just regular weed, and it puts me at fucking in coma mode, relaxation. My body just is just nothing hurts. So we found something mixed with some THC flower, and it works. And this is a hemp plant that they grow CBG with. So something to think about out there. You have to look for the right sources. Go to a farm that grows and sells CBD, before just buying it from a gas station or some shitty place that you don't know where it's from. So look for where you can find it from online that comes directly from a farm. So here's some good news. Marijuana helps people reduce opioid consumption and curbs withdrawals. This is a new federally funded study. Wow, I like all these federally funded and, governments. This is good.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Ready?
tell us about it.
Yeah. A new federally funded study is adding to the growing conversation about whether cannabis can play a role in addressing the opioid crisis. Researchers found that many people who use opioids reported turning to cannabis to help reduce their opioid use, manage their withdrawal symptoms, and even support their recovery efforts. The study focused on people using unregulated opioids, including drugs like fentanyl and heroin. Through interviews with participants, researchers found that cannabis was commonly used to ease some of the toughest withdrawal symptoms, including pain, nausea, anxiety, insomnia, and intense cravings. Many participants said cannabis helped make the withdrawal process more manageable and reduced their reliance on opioids. Researchers also found that cannabis wasn't just being used during withdrawal. Some participants said it helped them manage chronic pain, the original reason they began using opioids in the first place. Others reported that cannabis helped them cope with stress and improve their quality of life, making it easier to avoid returning to opioid use. Several described cannabis as a practical harm reduction tool rather than a complete replacement for addiction treatment. Now, it's important to understand what the study does and doesn't show. This was a qualitative study based on participants' experiences, so it doesn't prove that cannabis will work for everyone or that it should replace evidence-based treatments like medication-assisted therapy. Instead, it highlights how people are already using cannabis in the real world and why they believe it's helping them. The researchers say these findings support conducting larger clinical trials to better understand cannabis's role in opioid recovery. The overall trend suggests that cannabis may become an important complementary tool alongside established addiction treatments, not necessarily a replacement for them. The bottom line is that this federally funded study gives researchers another piece of the puzzle. It suggests cannabis may help some people reduce their opioid use and stay on the path to recovery. As the opioid epidemic continues to affect communities across the country, studies like this are helping scientists better understand where cannabis might fit into the broader treatment toolbox.
Yay.
I think that's great. I think we talked about this recently, semi-recently. We have a friend who is about a year and a half into their recovery and from alcohol and chooses to use cannabis, and the AA program doesn't allow that because you're still using something that alters, it's a mind altering substance. So it's not like pure recovery.
Right.
Also, they make a drug, a medication that you can take that makes weaning off of alcohol easier on your body. It lessens all the side effects and people get really sick when
withdrawals are brutal.
Yeah. And this medication makes you not feel those things, but it also lessens the craving for alcohol. And this drug worked. It was successful, but the program doesn't believe, this person informed her sponsors that they were using this. It was medication and it was prescribed by her doctor, and they weren't real cool on it. They didn't say no or you shouldn't. They're just like, well, that's not really, you have to go, if you don't go through that struggle, you're not really truly recovered. And I think that the idea is that you just want the person not to be an alcoholic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if this drug makes the it's an assistant, yes, you still have to go through the struggle of recovery.
Yeah.
You're not, I don't think it lessens the,
I
understand in the program they don't believe in cannabis.
Right.
And maybe over time that will change, but probably not. And maybe another support or recovery type organization will start up that definitely supports cannabis use.
Right.
It's a shame that they don't, but fundamentally I understand why.
Right. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. But I think that's interesting.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Political state and business news. The DA's marijuana reschedule hearing may be over, but the real fight is just beginning. Legal experts expect the issue to head into federal court after allegations of procedural problems and bias during the administration process. Instead of a quick decision, the rescheduling battle could drag on even longer. Grab the popcorn, everybody. It's about to get real. Nebraska's Medical Cannabis Commission is moving ahead by approving applications and licensing fees for future cannabis businesses. Even though licensing has officially begun, the move signals the state's preparing for regulated medical market while officials continue building the program's framework. A new poll shows marijuana consumers are growing less supportive of President Trump's handling of cannabis policy, with most respondents saying they don't expect federal rescheduling to happen this year. Many believe campaign promises haven't translated into meaningful actions, leaving optimism fading as the months roll by. Cannabis shoppers across Illinois are enjoying some serious savings as the retail prices continue falling due to increased competition and growing supply. Lower prices are bringing better value to consumers while forcing businesses to compete harder for every customer. It's a great day to be a bargain hunter. Your wallet might finally catch a contact high. Yeah, there's been more units sold this year than last year, but last year there was more dollar sales than this year. Dollar sales are down. That's how bad. And we're not talking about a few $100s. We're talking about millions. And basically last year at this time, I believe what I read, there's like 100 or 150,000 more units sold this year versus last year at this time.
That's
but
a big difference.
Less money though.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Oh, 150,000 more units sold. Less profit.
Yes. Yep. Price compression is real. It happens in every state.
Well, but what that's doing is squeezing out the brands. It's
ones that can't survive.
It's not hurting the dispensaries.
Oh, it's not sustainable.
No, it's not sustainable.
Not the way we're going right now.
Right.
So we'll be like Michigan in a few more years. I hope not, but we will be, with the prices dropping to, when we went to Michigan, we bought 2,400 milligrams of edibles for
like $50.
$50,
right?
Yeah, it was like $50.
Crazy.
It was a good name brand too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. So Senator John Fetterman renewed his call to Congress to legalize marijuana nationwide, arguing lawmakers should stop delaying reforms that most Americans already support. He says federal prohibition no longer reflects public opinion and creates unnecessary legal conflicts across the country. Yes. Why don't you do what the public wants? The people that vote you in. We want legal cannabis. We want it not only just, rescheduled. We want it
federal.
We want federally decriminalization and treated like alcohol and tobacco.
Yeah.
Maybe even better. Cannabis companies are being warned to prepare for a rise in patent lawsuits as intellectual property becomes more valuable across the industry. Experts say businesses should document innovations early and strengthen patent strategies before optimistic legal challenges become more common. Protect yourself before you wreck yourself, everybody. A proposed Massachusetts ballot question aims to repeal the state's legal cannabis law. Through supporters face significant hurdles before reaching voters. Backers argue legalization has created unintended consequences, while opponents point to years of regulated sales and tax revenue. When asked whether marijuana could eventually be rescheduled beyond medical use, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche avoided giving a direct answer. Her response leaves uncertainty about how far the administration is willing to go after any potential Schedule III decisions. An NFL-funded study recommends sports leagues reduce marijuana stigma and improve athletes with honest, evidence-based cannabis education instead of relying on outdated messaging. Researchers say better information can help players more informed health decisions while encouraging more open conversation about cannabis. A journalist who attended the DA's marijuana rescheduling hearing described it as one of the strangest legal proceedings they have ever witnessed, citing confusing testimony, procedural twist, and overall unpredictable atmosphere. The hearing may be over, but the experience left plenty of observers scratching their heads. Sounds less like a courtroom and more like a reality show. The Oakland Ballers baseball team hosted what's believed to be the first family-friendly cannabis-themed game day, celebrating legal cannabis culture with education, local businesses, and community activities, with helping the event suitable for all ages. That's one way to prove cannabis culture can be an exclusive, responsible, and still knock it out of the park. Now I'm passing that joint over to you, Mrs. Weedman.
Yep, I've got some more political, state, and business news, starting with Kentucky, where lawmakers are considering a proposal that would allow registered medical cannabis patients to use their medicine while receiving treatment in hospitals. Supporters say patients shouldn't lose access simply because they're admitted for care, while hospitals would still maintain oversight and safety protocols. THC beverages are popping up across the country, but Their future could depend on how federal regulators handle hemp derived cannabinoids. Operators are watching closely as lawmakers debate new rules that could reshape the market. Wine bars had their moment, cocktail lounges had theirs. Now, cannabis beverages are asking for a seat at the table.
There you go.
A bipartisan Senate bill would prevent federal regulators from penalizing insurance companies that choose to work with state legal cannabis businesses. Access to insurance remains a major challenge for many operators, and supporters say this measure could improve stability and reduce risk throughout the industry. Lawmakers introduced a bipartisan proposal that would keep hemp derived THC products federally legal while establishing new taxes, regulations, and oversight standards. Supporters say clear rules could improve consumer safety while preserving access to popular products already sold nationwide. Policy experts are urging states to allow people on probation or parole to access doctor recommended medical cannabis without fear of punishment. Advocates argue that patients shouldn't be forced to choose between following medical advice and complying with supervision requirements. Questions remain about how state regulated hemp THC businesses could be affected if the federal cannabis scheduling changes in the future. Industry leaders are closely monitoring legal interpretations as lawmakers and regulators debate the relationship between hemp and marijuana markets. Nothing says cannabis policy quite like needing 3 lawyers and a flowchart to explain it. That's for sure. A major alcohol industry lobbying group is supporting legislation that would keep hemp-derived THC beverages legal, though it wants more discussion about proposed tax rates. The move highlights growing interest from traditional beverage companies as cannabis drinks continue gaining popularity. THC beverages made their debut at the Lollapalooza, I think last year, through a partnership that brought cannabis-infused drink options directly to festival goers. The milestone reflects how cannabis beverages are becoming more mainstream at major entertainment events and public venues. First, it was food trucks, then craft cocktails, and now THC drinks at music festivals. What a fun time to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Some cannabis companies are building stronger relationships with Republican lawmakers as the industry searches for broader political support in Washington. Observers say businesses increasingly view bipartisan engagement as essential for advancing federal reforms and protecting long-term interests. Authorities are investigating a Chicago area dispensary. Yeah, this was all over our news.
Yeah, it was.
After a hidden camera, gross, was reportedly discovered inside a shared employee customer bathroom. The incident has raised serious privacy concerns, and officials are working to determine how long the device was present and who may be responsible. Cannabis returned as a featured attraction at the California State Fair, showcasing award-winning products and educational exhibits. That's really cool. I didn't know that. While giving attendees an opportunity to learn more about the legal market. Organizers continue blending agriculture, consumer education, and cannabis culture in a public setting. Nothing says California quite like prize-winning cannabis next to the giant pumpkins and funnel cakes.
Both.
Yeah,
Weed and funnel cake. Love me some funnel cake.
That's it with my news, Mr. Weedman. It's back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Weedman. Michigan Supreme Court has ruled that police cannot search a vehicle based solely on minor marijuana violations. The decision reinforces protections for drivers, requiring officers to have additional probable cause before conducting a search. Pete Buttigieg says medical marijuana has been made a meaningful difference for a member of his own family and for veterans he served alongside in the military. He argues cannabis can improve quality of life for many patients and believes access should continue expanding through thoughtful policy reforms. Michigan new 24% wholesale marijuana tax hasn't stopped prices from falling as cultivators continue producing abundant supplies and retailers compete aggressively for customers. Consumers are benefiting from lower prices while businesses face increasing pressure to stand out in a crowded marketplace. Vermont has increased the amount of cannabis adult can legally purchase in a single transaction, giving consumers more flexibility, while aligning purchase limits with the state's growing legal market. Supporters say the change improves convenience without altering possession laws. Sports commentator Stephen A. Smith recently argued that the NBA should prohibit marijuana use. Reigniting debate over cannabis policies in professional sports. This comments contrast with the growing number of leagues moving forward towards education and less punitive approaches. Looks like Stephen Smith doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, sorry, that's not. Looks like the cannabis conversation is still bouncing around the court. The Illinois Department of Agriculture has updated its guidance on cannabis waste disposal, providing licensed businesses with clear expectations for handling, documenting, and destroying cannabis waste. Regulators say the cannabis changes are designed to improve public compliance and consistency across the industry. Rhode Island officially will refund marijuana business license application fees after litigation forced the state to restart portions of the license processes. Applicants will receive their money back while regulators work to launch a revised and legal complement application system. A congressional committee has approved legalization, directly federal health officials to track emergency room testing for marijuana and other drugs. Supporters say better data can improve public health research and help policymakers make better understanding of substances-related hospital visits. Good data makes good policy, because guessing never belonged in the lab. Georgia's medical cannabis program continues gaining momentum, with the number of registered patients increasing by 22% in just 2 months. The rapid growth reflects expanding awareness, physician participation, and patient interest as more qualifying residents seek legal treatment options. And that's political, state, and business news, everybody. Now, Mrs. Weedman is going to tell you a little about the voice of the plant. Genetics are the cannabis industry's greatest asset. So we need to all act accordingly. Yes. I will smoke some more of this gas base, but I do want to save some for Betty bed tonight too, because this is our last joint of it.
All right.
So come on, Mac, send me more.
When most people think about valuable assets in the cannabis industry, they think about cultivation facilities, extraction equipment, or retail stores. But according to legendary breeder Mr. Sherbinski, the industry's most valuable asset isn't any of those. It's the genetics behind the plants themselves. And really, like, just to interject here, this is my summary of this article. And if you've listened to the Grow Hour, which is Mr. Weedman's other podcast that he does with a Michigan caregiver grower,
Big Earl.
And Big Earl is also a seed breeder. He's a geneticist. He's all about preserving
tissue
old
culturing
strains,
and
tissue
stuff,
cultures. He does all of this. And I think that it's just very easy to kind of, like in all plant matter, it's kind of easy to forget the seeds and how important they are in the product.
They're everything.
Right? Like we just think seed, pop it in the ground, things grow, we get the bud. What we care about, what does that bud look like, right? But it took good genetics to get there.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to realize how important this is to
Genetics
the future of cannabis.
Oh, yeah. Genetics is the key to that
I
plant.
read recently some quote, like some old quote, and it was something to the effect of, like, think about seeds, right? And we have all these seedless fruits, right? And we think this is great. I could have a seedless orange, and I can have a seedless watermelon, and I can have a seedless grape, and I don't have to be nuisanced or, bothered by these seeds that are in the way, and they affect my enjoyment of this fruit. Well, guess what? If we don't have the seeds, we can't save those. I mean, most people aren't saving seeds from the fruit they eat, but we could get to a point in time where we need those seeds. Like, you need to grow your own food.
And now someone's going to control the seeds.
And now, guess what? Who's going to own all the seeds? Because we made all of everything seedless. Guess who holds it all? The government, the farmers. That they will govern everything, right? We need the seeds.
Yep.
It's important. So this is all about that.
Especially non-GMO seeds, everybody.
Non-GMO, yeah.
Yes.
Big time. Although, like, there's even cannabis that I don't know if they technically categorize it as GMO, but there's seed breeders that are constantly modifying and trying to create new or better strains that you're modifying.
Yeah, I guess, but it's not really like, they're not genetically modified seeds though. Like they're not, like most genetically modified seeds now you get it like you go to the grocery store and buy a bag of seeds.
Yeah.
Buy a bag of seeds.
Yeah.
They don't produce more seeds.
Right. They're non-seed bearing plants.
Yes, which is terrible.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mr.
Bizarre. All right. So back to Sherbinski. He shares stories from his early days preserving strains like Sunset Sherbet and Gelato, explaining how close he came to losing years of breeding work because of pests and disease. Those experiences taught him that elite genetics can disappear overnight. And once they're gone, they can simply not be recreated. Today, the risks have changed. Instead of worrying about raids or theft, growers are battling hop latent viroid, pest infestations, facility closures, and human error. Sherbinski argues that many cannabis businesses still rely too heavily on maintaining mother plants, which naturally age, accumulate stress, and can quietly spread disease throughout an entire cultivation operation. His solution is investing in tissue culture, a process that allows growers to preserve clean, disease free copies of important genetics in a laboratory setting. This is like on microscope slides, petri
Oh
dishes.
yeah, they look like
It's
little
like,
aliens
yeah,
when they
it's
start
crazy.
growing a little bit. Reach out to Big Earl if you want to know about tissue culture.
Yes.
We've talked about it on the Grow Hour too.
Yeah. While some while some operators assume tissue culture is only for large companies, Sherbinski says even a modest lab can be one of the smartest investments a cultivation business can make because it protects years or even decades of breeding work. As the cannabis industry becomes more competitive and prices continue to fall, proprietary genetics may become one of the few things that truly sets a brand apart. Great genetics create unique flavors, aromas, cannabinoid profiles, and consumer loyalty, advantages that competitors can't easily copy. The bottom line is that cultivation equipment can always be replaced, but truly exceptional genetics can't. Sherbinski's message to the industry is simple. If cannabis companies want to thrive for decades, they need to treat their genetics like intellectual property and invest in protecting them before they're lost forever.
That is the truth right
Yep.
there. I mean,
That would be terrible.
yes, some of the greatest strains ever we might have lost.
Mm-hmm.
We never even knew about.
Yeah.
Because there was no protecting them. But I knew. Okay, so real quick, I was interviewing for a cannabis job. The company was out of Missouri. Don't remember the name of it. Talking to the guy, he found out I was from Florida and sold weed down in Florida. We talked about my past, and he goes, "Listen, I have a plant I've had, a mother plant I've had for well over probably about 20 plus years." He goes, "You ever smoked a strain called the Crippy?" I was like,
Wow, that's the keys.
"Yo, bro, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Yeah, I've had a mother plant of the Crippy."
Wow.
My eyes lit up. I just wanted him to hire me so I can go get some fucking Crippy.
Crippy.
Because that's what I smoked. That was like the 90s
That was
for
your
us.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That was the 90s all about.
Wow.
And he knew once he found out how old I was and where I was from. I was like, yo, dog, I'd do anything for some of that fucking bud. He started laughing. I said, well, if you hire me, which they didn't, because they were out of Missouri and I didn't want to move to Missouri. And no offense, Missouri, I love you, but I'm here.
Not moving.
I'm not moving, But I was, dog, bro, you need to fucking, I wish I remember the name of this company. I wish I remember the interview. I remember the interview. I wish I remember the guy's name. And I wish what cultivation it was, because we're going to St. Louis soon for a wedding.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a minute since I've been to St. Louis. And I'm looking forward to coming to Missouri and partying down and smoking some Missouri weed. And I wish I knew where this guy was at, because I would go visit him to get some Crippy. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
And if anybody is in my age that's from Florida that knows about the Crippy, I love you. Much love. Boop, 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 boop. International news. A new United Nations drug report claims global cannabis use has increased about 40% over the past decade, but critics say the numbers deserve a closer look. Researchers point to inconsistent reporting, underrepresented populations, and changing attitudes towards cannabis as factors that may skew the data. St. Kitts and Nevis is building the financial foundation for its medical cannabis industry by bringing in regional banking expert to help develop a securely regulated framework. Well, let's see if it works. India's Himachal Pradesh has become the country's third state to allow legal cannabis cultivation for medical and scientific purposes. Hell yeah, go India. Australia's ECS Botanics is expanding its medical cannabis lineup with larger format Oz Sun and all-in-one vape products designed for medical patients. The company says the new device offers longer-lasting use and greater confidence in Australia's regulated medical cannabis market continues to mature. France is facing criticism after increasing the fixed fine for cannabis possessions to 500 euros, with components arguing the policy emphasizes punishment over public health and reform. Critics question whether steeper penalties will reduce use of simple, place greater financial burdens on consumers. It's one expensive smoke break, Mrs. Weedman. I don't understand France at all.
No.
I would there with this.
The
This
rules.
is just they're so far like progressive in their thinking on some things, and then when it comes to a plant that makes people happy and helps people medically,
Mm-hmm.
socially, just everything we've ever talked about in the show. I don't. France confuses the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Oui, ma chérie. You know.
Oui.
Botswana, who we've never talked about in the show, so congrats, Botswana, is taking another step into the global hemp market by advancing commercial hemp culture, cultivation, and under regulated framework. Officials see hemp as a promising agriculture crop that could create jobs, diversify the economy, and attract new investment. Way to go, Botswana. Let's get it done. All right, Mr. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
You're gonna talk about some heroes of mine.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
yeah. So, but I do love that movie. It's great. So tell us about Jay and Silent Bob's marijuana farming game in the works. And I watched the
Yeah, this is
video to
pretty
this.
wild.
It's very cute. It looks like kind of like a cross between Lego game
Like
and
Minecraft.
Minecraft, kind of
Yeah.
like mixed together. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever buy it. If it's free, I'll download it. So, but it looks kind of fun. Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
Yeah, if you grew up watching Jay and Silent Bob, this news is probably going to make you smile. Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, iconic stoner duo, are getting their very own cannabis farming video game called Jay and Silent Bob's Joint Venture. And honestly, it sounds exactly as ridiculous as you'd hope. The game was announced during San Diego Comic-Con and is scheduled for release via Steam in 2027. The game is being described as an adult cozy farming simulator. Think Stardew Valley or Farmville, except instead of growing tomatoes and pumpkins, you'll be cultivating cannabis. Players start with a rundown backyard grow and gradually build it to a thriving operation by planting, harvesting, crossbreeding new strains, upgrading equipment, and expanding their business. Along the way, you'll run into familiar faces from the View Askew universe, complete missions, customize your grow, and explore locations fans will recognize from Kevin Smith's movies. Best of all, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes are directly involved with the project, helping make sure the humor stays true to the characters everyone knows and loves. Expect plenty of inappropriate jokes, Easter eggs, and classic Jay and Silent Bob antics. The developers say there are no fail states or high pressure gameplay. The idea is to kick back. What does that even mean? The developers say there are no fail states or high pressure gameplay.
Yeah, it's not like a lot of puzzles and a lot of
Yeah.
like some games there's high pressure, like when you're
Yeah,
trust
I
me,
get you.
you've
Like,
seen me
I can't
game,
play
you've
those.
seen me game before, and you've
Yeah.
seen when I play some high pressure stuff. So this is like more just
Serious.
about relaxing. Yeah.
Serious.
Also,
Yeah.
they look like, remember the old Wii game your mom had, the Wii, the
Yeah,
game Wii by
yeah.
Nintendo, the bowling characters.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's
They're,
what
like,
they look
super
like.
pixelated.
That's what they look
Yeah.
like with the round
Like
hands and stuff like
10-bit?
that.
Is
Yeah,
that 8-bit,
no more
10-bit?
than that. But
But
yeah, that's
not much.
that's what they look like.
Like Pitfall.
Yeah.
That guy was kind
no,
of
not Pitfall. Wii. The game,
Wii.
the Wii game from
Wii.
Nintendo. Wii.
The idea is to kick back, grow some virtual flower, experiment with crazy genetics, build relationships with other characters, and enjoy the ride. It's meant to be a relaxing game with a heavy dose of comedy and probably a few snoochy boochies thrown in for good measure. For
What
cannabis,
was that?
It must be something they say.
Snoochie Boochies?
Snoochy boochies.
I thought that's what you said.
Is that something they
I
say
think
on
it's
the
from
show?
movie. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I think they say it.
For cannabis fans, gamers, and anyone who grew up quoting Clerks or Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, this could end up being one of the most entertaining crossover games in recent memory. Who would have guessed that one day you'd be able to legally grow weed with Jay and Silent Bob, at least on your computer? Snoochy boochies. I gotta look this up.
It's been like I said, it's been years since I've seen the movie, so
I can't find any Crippy in Missouri, so I don't know where that's at.
I don't think he sold it. I think he just keeps it as
It's
his
own
personal
thing.
mother
But I did
plant.
find
that-
there is specifically a Florida Crippy, spelled with a K. Other Crippy
Was a
strains are
C.
with a C.
Yeah.
But the Florida Crippy's got the K.
Showing my age. So, oh, Mrs. Weedman,
Mr. Weedman.
that's the end of the show.
Whoa, how'd that happen?
I don't know. You got
Snoochie boochie.
Snoochie.
Snoochie boochies.
That's what you got to say this week.
That's it.
That's it. Everybody out there, we love you. Have a great week. Go live some fucking life. Enjoy outside. Get some fresh air. Go have some fucking fun. We love you. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.